Hello guys, good morning. Today we are going to be answering again another question on the Division Criminal Jurisprudence. This is for the review of those who will be taking the board examination for criminologies in this year, June 2022. Okay, so here's the continuation of our discussion on the subject matter. Okay, so let me read the question, guys. Classification of crimes that involves more than one country in their planning, execution, and impact is known as, yeah. So we have four choices, We have letter A, international crime, letter B, transnational crime, letter C, organized crime, letter D, transnational organized crime. Okay? So you may pause the video for a while, no, habang iniisip niyo kung ano yung tamang sagot. So before we reveal the answer for this question, let us first discuss the choices. So we have here international crime as the first choice. Now, what do we know, or how do we define international crimes? No, so basically, international crimes, ito yung mga crimes that violate the so-called fundamental principle and norms of the international criminal law. No, so we have international criminal law, guys. No? That's why we also have the International Criminal Court. And because we have those two, then we have also international crime as the subject of that matter. No? So international crimes are actually divided by four core crimes na tinatawag natin. They are the general classification of the so-called international crime. We have genocide, we have crimes against humanity, we have war crimes, we have crimes against aggression or crimes of aggression. No? So we know for a fact naman what is genocide, these crimes that tries to or that aims to eliminate a certain group or a certain race, no? So usually yung mga mass killing that is directed to a certain group, no? That is considered as a genocide, and genocide is considered as international crime. Let's say for example, there is a certain group, that we wanted, or that the government wants to eliminate because either they are considered as the enemy of the state and so on, but still that is considered as genocide. No? Then we have also crimes against humanity. Actually, crimes against humanity is the general classification of all crimes that are recognized globally or internationally, no? Such as murder. No? Pag sinabi nating recognized globally, it means that all countries or majority of the countries have the same provisions or have prohibited the same acts, no? Such as killing. No? Ang killing, is classified as international crime. Why? Because killing here in our country is prohibited. Also in other countries, any form of killing is also prohibited. So, kung ano yung mga pinagbabawal sa atin dito, sa bansa natin, na pinagbabawal din sa majority of countries, that is considered as international crime, most specifically, it is labeled as crimes against humanity, rape, ang rape ba dito lang sa bansa natin pinaparusahan yan? No, it is also punished in different countries, in majority of the countries that we have, that we know. Okay, so only those crimes that are unique to a certain country, such as, I'll give you an example, libel. Libel is a good example because libel is not punished in most of countries. No, I think that libel is one of the crime that is very unique into our country. Dito lang parang konti lang yung nagpa-punish ng crime of libel, but in other countries so far, na yung mga progressive countries na, they don't punish the crime of libel. So that's the point, no? When we punish a certain act and it is also punishable in other countries, then that is considered as international crime, and those crimes are classified, according to the core crimes of the international crimes as crimes against humanity. So dito na rin papasok yung human rights violations, extrajudicial killing, and so on, that is crimes against humanity. So basically, all of these things that I'm mentioning are considered as international crime. Okay? Then we have also yung war crimes. So war crimes prescribe the ethics of war. I think that's contradictory, you know. But definitely, we cannot really avoid conflicts between countries, no? Hindi talaga maiwasan na magkaroon ng gera between countries. Like now, meron na namang nangyaring gera, no, between two countries. So, whenever two countries or more are involved into war, no, kapag sila ay nakikipagdigma sa isa't isa, the international criminal law prescribes a certain ethics to be followed, no, in the engagement of countries to war. So, doon nakapalagay or nakapaloob yung mga tinatawag nating provisions, most likely on the ethics of war, as I've mentioned. No? So, any violation of those provisions will be considered as war crimes, no? And that is in violation of the so-called international criminal law. No? Then lastly, we have the crimes of aggression. No? Ang crimes of aggression talks about the involvement of country, no, trying to attack other countries. So let's say for example that China wants to expand its territory. That's why sinusugod niya yung mga bansang malalapit sa kanya for the purpose of expanding its authority, territory, and so on, para kumbaga manakop siya. So that is considered as a crime of aggression, which is in violation of the international criminal law that we have. Okay, so those are the four core crimes of the international crime. As you can see, now we haven't mentioned yet the the connection of international crime to the question that we are asking. Now, if we proceed to choice letter B, we have the transnational crime. Here, transnational crime is actually the answer for the question. Why? Because transnational crimes involves, ang tingnan natin when it comes to transnational crimes is the participation of more than one country. So there is, or there are the involvement, or there is the involvement of more than one countries into the specific crime. So we can basically say that an international crime when committed in with the involvement of more than two countries, that is already considered as transnational crime. Paano yun? No? Let's take some example. No? Kuha tayo ng isang international crime. Let's say for example, killing, assassination. No? So a certain group here in our country, hypothetical case, no? A certain group here in our country planned to kill a government official in other country. No? So they planned it here. No? They want to commit the killing, no? But they planned it here. They settled all the important matters that needed to be settled here and executed the act in other country. No? So you know naman the planning, no, the planning to commit a crime, no, especially for this matter, is already punishable. Then they committed it in other country. Then there are two countries now involved. First, our country, which the planning had been accomplished, no, and the other country where the execution has been done. No? So that's one example. Another example that we could give is, let's say for example, drugs, no, drug trafficking. So they produce, no, they manufacture the drugs here in our country, that is punishable, no, that is already punishable, and they deliver it. They will deliver and sell it into other countries. Gumawa sila ng drugs dito sa bansa natin, binenta nila for example in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Thailand, something like that. No? So how do we consider that now? That is now considered as transnational crime. Why? Because there are more than one countries involved into that specific crime. No? Pag nahuli sila halimbawa dito sa Pilipinas na gumagawa ng drugs, then that is considered, or that is already punishable. Correct? Now, let's say for example, hindi sila nahuli dito, no? Nakalampas sila dito sa ating border, then i-deliver nila in other countries yung kanilang drugs, dun nila binenta, and they were apprehended there, no? And it came to their notice that this group of people selling drugs in that country are actually coming from the Philippines, and the supply of drugs are coming from the Philippines. Then we can label that as transnational crime, because it's not only affected the country where the drug is being sold, no, but also our country where the drugs is being manufactured. So that's how transnational crime is different from international crime. Kasi for example, no, they just committed it here. They're manufacturing drugs, selling drugs, and so on. The drug problem is recognized globally. Ano? Lahat naman ng bansa actually have a law that punishes such act, such as drug manufacture, drug production, and so on. So that is considered as international crime, no? Pero dahil nadawit na yung ibang bansa kasi doon nila binebenta yung mga drugs na minamanufacture from our country, then that is no longer just considered as international crime, but rather it will be considered as international crime, because there are more than one countries involved now in the crime that we are talking about, no? So that's how transnational crime is defined. Now, with choice letter C naman, organized crime, no? Organized crime are types of crime naman committed by criminal enterprise, no? These are committed by group, no? By organization, but by criminal enterprise that has group structure, that has leadership, that has connection, no? That has machinery in how they are executing their crime. And mostly, the crimes that they are committing are those considered as public demand crimes. No? What are those public demand crimes? No? It refers to these crimes that has something to do with the participation of the criminals, no, in terms of consumption, such as gambling. That is public demand, di ba? Ang daming nagsusugal. And the organized crime are profiting from it because they try to manipulate or control or establish their own gambling den, drugs, no? Prostitution. Yun yung pinagkakakitaan ng organized crime. No? Organized crime is profit motivated. No? Profit motivated sila. And the characteristic of this is that yun nga, meron silang structured organization. No? Meron talaga silang hierarchy of positions doon sa criminal organization na yun. And you are not just going to pertain to an individual act. Like for example, if I have finances, and because of that, I try to look for supplier for drugs, no? Tapos binebenta ko in other countries. That is not considered, or I am not considered as an organized crime, but rather an individual player, an individual criminal, no? Ang organized crime is that they have financer, they have leadership, they have organization, structured organization, may mga kapit sila, and so on. So this is a big criminal enterprise that we are talking about. That's the nature of organized crime. So we have a lot of organized crime known, no? Like for example, mga drug cartels, no? Yakuza, and majority of the drug cartels that we know of are considered organized crime kasi hindi lang sila iisang individual na nagko-commit ng crime, kundi they are a group, a big organization, no? A big group, no? Characterized by different linkages, organizational structures, and many more. Okay, so that's what organized crime is. Now, choice letter D, transnational organized crime, is known to be when an organized crime is committed in a manner of a transnational crime. So doon sa isang example natin kanina, let's say for example there is an organized crime group here in our country, no? Merong isang organized crime group here in our country that produce drugs, no? Then they deliver it to other countries, no? Kumbaga binabagsak nila sa ibang bansa yung kanilang mga na-produce na drugs, no? then definitely the crime that they are committing can be classified as transnational organized crime. Basically, why? Because first, there are two countries involved here, now where the drugs is being produced and where the drugs is being delivered for consumption. So that's the characteristic of a transnational crime. Then, the transnational crime is being perpetrated by an organized crime group. So, that is classified as transnational organized crime. No? Doon sa first example natin kanina, di ba, yung sabi natin assassination, no? Assassination plot, wherein a certain organization here planned to assassinate a certain individual, a certain government official in another country, no? Then, can we consider that as transnational organized crime? First, we consider the motive for this because there's a distinction between organized crime group and terrorist group. No? If the assassination is politically motivated, let's say it is like a terrorist act, no, it's a terrorist act, then that is not a transnational organized crime, but rather it will be considered as terrorism. And terrorism is a good example of an international crime. No? But when terrorism is committed through border, across border, then that would be considered as transnational crime. Nakuha natin yung connection between these two. First, international crime pertains to those crimes that are in violation of the international criminal law. No? Transnational crime pertains to those international crimes committed across border. No? Then, organized crime naman are crime activities or criminal activities of an organized criminal group, no? Criminal enterprise. And transnational organized crime naman pertains to those transnational crime committed by criminal organization. Okay? So, that's our summary lecture with regards to the question. A classification that involves more than one country in their planning, execution, and impact is known as transnational crime. I do hope I was able to impart some knowledge with regards to this topic. No? If you want more of these lectures, subscribe to our YouTube channel, no? And hit the like button. Thank you guys for listening. No? That's it for today. See you on the next lecture. Bye bye.